Crescent Hill was a town tucked between forested mountains and a silent lake that rarely stirred. Neighbors waved politely. Streetlights flickered at predictable hours, and whispers traveled faster than the wind. Outsiders often said Crescent Hill felt frozen in time, peaceful, untouched. But beneath that calm surface, the town carried secrets like scars buried beneath long sleeves. And the deepest secret began unraveling the night Mara Ellison disappeared. Mara Ellison lived in a small two-story house on Birchwood Lane, a place filled with her paintings. Every room carried a different emotion. The kitchen painted with soft blues, the hallway in warm amber tones, and her bedroom decorated with watercolors of distant landscapes she never visited but dreamed of. But lately, those paintings had grown darker. More shadows, more hidden figures. Something had been haunting her, and her friends noticed. At the cafe where she taught art on Saturdays, she often glanced at the door, like she expected someone to walk in. When a car passed behind her, she always flinched. And every night, she checked the locks twice, sometimes 3 times. At 8:54 p.m. on the night, she vanished. Heavy clouds rolled over Crescent Hill. Mara stood at her window, arms wrapped around herself, watching the first drops of rain smear the glass. She whispered under her breath, "Just one more night. Please let it just be one more night." At 9:03 p.m., she began painting feverishly in her attic, the attic she rarely entered. The brush strokes were rough, panicked, unlike her usual soft, controlled style. Colors clashed violently, crimson, black, deep violet. She kept glancing over her shoulder, as though someone was in the room with her. At 9:17 p.m., she grabbed her phone and sent a message to her best friend, Lily. "If anything happens, check the attic. Don't trust anyone yet." That was the last time anyone heard from her. Detective Rowan Blake had lived in Crescent Hill for just under 6 months. He moved from a larger city after a case went terribly wrong, a detail he never talked about. The locals liked him. He was quiet, observant, polite. But he carried a sadness behind his eyes, like he was trying to solve something inside himself. When he received a call about Mara's disappearance, he felt a strange pull, an instinct almost urging him to take the case. The storm was at its peak when he arrived at her house. Rain hammered the roof like frantic fingers. The air inside felt unnaturally cold, as though the windows had been left open for hours. Even though all of them were shut tight, nothing seemed disturbed. No sign of forced entry. No overturned furniture, except for one thing. Her attic light was on. Rowan climbed the creaking wooden steps. As he reached the top, he felt a pressure in his chest, a sense that he wasn't alone. The attic smelled of wet paint and something metallic, like old iron. That's when he saw the painting. The unfinished painting stood on an easel at the center of the attic, illuminated by a single flickering bulb. The image was chaotic, a swirl of dark colors forming a forest, with shadowy figures standing behind a woman who looked unmistakably like Mara. But the figure had no face, just a tall, looming shape. At the bottom corner of the canvas, scratched violently into the paint with something sharp, were the words, "He found me." Rowan felt the air shift. A faint draft brushed past him despite the sealed windows. He turned sharply. The attic was empty. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been standing directly behind him. In the following days, Rowan interviewed the townspeople. Some were helpful, some nervous, but others grew tense at the mention of Mara's surname. Ellison, a name that once meant power, then tragedy, and then something darker. At the town library, Rowan found archived newspapers with headlines from nearly 2 decades earlier. Edgar Ellison declared dead after mansion fire. Ellison family legacy shrouded in mystery. Survivor. Daughter found traumatized but alive. The mansion, her childhood home, still stood at the edge of Crescent Hill. Abandoned, decaying, avoided by everyone. When Rowan mentioned visiting the mansion, the librarian paled. "I'd be careful if I were you," she said. "Some places don't stay empty." Not really. 3 days after Mara's disappearance, Rowan returned to her attic. Something felt different this time. The painting seemed slightly altered, the shadows darker, as if the image changed when no one was watching. He leaned closer. The surface beneath his fingertips cracked. It wasn't just an unfinished painting. It was a cover. A second painting lay hidden underneath. Rowan carefully scraped the top layer until a true image appeared. A much clearer, far more chilling scene. Mara running through a forest, her hair whipping behind her, her face frozen in terror. And behind her, no longer a faceless figure. A man, tall, gaunt, eyes as hollow as death. A smile that didn't belong on a human face. Rowan recognized him immediately. Edgar Ellison, her father, a man who was supposed to be long dead. The storm that night mirrored the one from the night Mara vanished. Lightning flashed as Rowan approached the decaying Ellison Mansion. The gates were rusted, hanging crookedly. Weeds choked the path. Windows were shattered, and parts of the roof had collapsed. Yet the front door was slightly open, as if welcoming him. Inside, the mansion smelled of mold, old wood, and something else. Something sharp like cold metal. Portraits lined the hallway, their eyes watching him. He recognized Edgar's face on one of them, the same unsettling expression from the painting. As he explored room after room, he heard faint movement deeper in the house. Not footsteps, more like dragging. Rowan followed the sound to a narrow corridor behind a broken bookshelf. Dust billowed around him. A concealed door led to a staircase descending into darkness. He drew his flashlight. The darkness swallowed the beam as if it were alive. The staircase led to a vast underground chamber Rowan hadn't expected. The stone walls were damp, carved with old family symbols, spirals, eyes, and strange angular marks he didn't recognize. Lanterns flickered along the floor. A metallic clinking echoed, and then he saw her. Mara, pale, trembling, chained to a pillar. Her wrists were bruised, her breathing shallow, but she was alive. Mara. Rowan rushed to her side. Her eyes opened slowly, filled with exhaustion and terror. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. "It's too late. He's here. He never died." Before Rowan could free her, heavy footsteps echoed behind them. Slow, deliberate, and impossibly calm. Rowan turned. A tall man stepped out of the shadows. His movements were precise. His expression disturbingly serene. His eyes empty. His smile identical to the one painted beneath the attic canvas. Edgar Ellison, alive, or something close to it. Rowan's voice trembled. "You're supposed to be dead." Edgar tilted his head. "Death is merely a change of rooms." Mara sobbed. "He never stopped watching me, waiting, studying everyone who got close." Rowan felt a cold realization spreading in his chest. Edgar didn't just follow people. He analyzed them, predicted them, manipulated them. Edgar stepped forward. "You led her right back to where she belongs, just as I knew you would." The basement lights flickered violently. A scream tore through the chamber. One of them, or both. Then, darkness, silence, and Crescent Hill was never the same again.